But once we start to take a look at this list, Tesla, which looked the best of all of them, has a gap down here at $400 and looks like it's reversing after putting in a little bit of a high yesterday. Nvidia, same thing. Was unable to put in a higher high yesterday and is starting. This is a weekly, by the way, is starting to reverse a little bit. Here's support. Support's all the way down here at 188 or so. Microsoft, its level of support is right around here, 490. A little bit of a two false breakouts for Microsoft. We take a look at Google. Google just ripping, gapping up on earnings a couple of times here and starting to give some of that back. We take a look at Apple. Apple finding resistance after ripping higher to all-time highs, finding a little bit of resistance and just putting in a doji so far. This week, Amazon gapped up on the news yesterday of their partnership with OpenAI for 30 some odd $billion. There was some analyst who was, talking about the circular logic problem, the circular funding problem for, OpenAI and all of these other companies that have partnered with OpenAI. It's like OpenAI doesn't generate the revenues to pay for all this stuff yet. Maybe they will in the future. So Amazon gapped up yesterday and put in a false breakout after putting in some fresh all-time highs, starting to fill that gap. Meta sold off after earnings, continuing to move lower. Here's a little bit of a gap fill. And Oracle has almost completely filled the gap that it put in after its own announcement of a $300 billion deal with OpenAI for Oracle to deliver services using data centers that they haven't built, which would require more power than like 3 Hoover dams. So like it's just kind of like, wow, none of the power exists, the data don't exist, and OpenAI doesn't have the money, but they announced a $300 billion 10-year deal for stuff that doesn't exist. And Oracle's stock was massively rewarded for it, has spent the last several weeks just fading and giving it all back and filling that gap. And Oracle started the trend of borrowing to get a piece of this AI market. So, Meta followed suit just recently. And I would track the credit default swaps for bonds of these hyperscalers because not every single one of these guys is going to succeed and survive. Some of them are going to get, really hurt by their potential overinvestment in AI. Which ones are going to win? Who knows? But
But they're spending a lot. I mean, like they're issuing 50-year bonds. I mean, I rarely like
I know.
year bonds on a tech company might exist or not exist by disruption of other technology, right?
Yeah. So, there's the reason why I brought up the NASDAQ is because if there's, and I'm not calling for some type of crash out of the NASDAQ at all. I just think that, hey, you know what? It could move lower by another couple points. Maybe we get down here to trendline support. That's only another, 400 or 500 points to the downside. We're talking about, maybe 2 or 3% lower. 2 or 3% lower does not end this bull market in stocks by any stretch of the imagination. Could it do if it coincides with Bitcoin just getting, shellacked over here? If the NASDAQ keeps pushing lower, then I would expect Bitcoin to probably break and close below 100K. But at the same time, here's something to think about. These moves have been so extreme this week that a snapback, a violent reversal, some type of very violent just push higher would not surprise me in the least. So I just don't think that a reversal is likely if we're seeing the VX up, Nasdaq and S&P down. So we've got the Supreme Court of the United States making some decision on tariffs tomorrow. We're going to get results hopefully for the elections tonight, and hopefully if there's going to be a strike on Venezuela, that gets done soon. Because these are all things that could push markets around. So that's what I'm watching. SCOTUS tomorrow, elections tonight. Hopefully, if there's going to be some Venezuela thing, that gets handled quickly. And the S&P and the NASDAQ, as long as they put in a trough like this week, then maybe we can start to heal and recover next week.
And
But-
the private ADP, I think, is going to be very important on the job.
Oh
picture.
yeah, and we're getting a jobs number on the 7th, right? Didn't they announce that? That's this Friday.
I think the ADP comes on Wednesday.
Yeah,